Hi, welcome to Infinite Creations. Today is Sunday, September 27th, 2015, and this is episode 1. Welcome! I am Lakshmi, also known as Knitter by Nature on Ravelry and Instagram, and some of you might remember me from a previous podcast, Intertwined Stitches, which I co-hosted with my friend Stephanie, XCO Mom, on Ravelry. Well, Stephanie and I have not been able to get together as much as we'd like, so I decided to give this podcasting thing a go on my own. I've been missing sharing all my creations with you, and so let's get started. Today we have finished objects, mostly finished objects, half finished objects, some spinning, and some other crafty stuff thrown in there. So let's start with a finished object, which I'm wearing. This is the lightweight top-down pullover by Diane Susie. It's knit out of Knit Pick Stroll Tweed in the Thirst Heather color. I used about 7 or 8 skeins, and it's knit on a size 5 US 3.75 millimeter needle. And I knit the size 42, and I love how it came out. It's just beautiful. The fabric is so nice and cozy. It fits really well. It's nicely fitted in the arms, and sleeves could be a little bit longer. They do stretch to the length that I like, but when they relax, they go back a little bit on my wrist, and I like them a little bit longer. But you know how it is when you're knitting a sweater and you just are working on the sleeves and just want to get it done. Well, I thought I'd knit them long enough, but next time I might go a little bit longer. So this sweater I will be wearing to Rhinebeck this year. So excited to be able to go again. Stephanie and I are going together. This is my 3rd year going, and maybe we'll run into some of you there. That would be great. Next up, a mostly finished object. And I'm calling it mostly finished because all I need to do is knit the straps for this loon backpack that I knit for my mom. This came in a kit from Morehouse Farm, and it uses their gator yarn, which is a tightly twisted wool yarn, in this black, white, and charcoal color. The only thing that I didn't like about the kit is I ran out of charcoal yarn and I was doing the feet, so one foot is a row shorter than the other one. Big deal, right? And it came with a nice safety eyes, and this pattern is meant to be felted, but I didn't think that it needed to be folded. I think it's just perfect as it is. The straps I may felt just because it'll make them sturdier, stronger, and hopefully shrink to the right length. So I'm still working on those, and my mom is very eager to get this. I started it way back in June. So this was knit with size US 5 needles as well, and some of the sections were held double-stranded, like the head of the loon and the bottom of the backpack. Very happy with this project. I definitely recommend it, and I was looking at getting maybe a different one, maybe the snake, or what was the other one I was looking at? There was an owl that's really cute. So there you go. Next we have some crochet, and this is also a kit that I purchased from Michael's. I wasn't able to get it when I first saw it. It's Star Wars Crochet. And then when I went to look for it online, it was ridiculously expensive because I guess the book had gone out of print and was being reprinted or something. But when I went back to Michael's, they had one left. So I snatched it up and I brought it home. And the kit comes with enough yarn to make Yoda and a stormtrooper, which I made. You can see them through the little window. Let me take them out. Here's the book by Lucy Collin. Now I'm in the process of making Chewbacca. And my son has requested an Ewok. Yoda's the first little guy I made. I misplaced his tan yarn, so I didn't finish the sleeves on him, so he's a mostly finished object too. So he's got this little robe that comes on and off, but needs sleeves. Got his little floppy ears. And look, I did the best I could with the safety eyes that came in the kit. Do not try to use the safety eyes that come in the kit. We used pliers or something to get it on, and I think one of the eyes got chipped. So I purchased some other safety eyes when it was time to make the Stormtrooper. It was much easier. So this little guy is all done. He came out really cute. And these, I'm sure you're going to see a lot more of these little guys pop up in the future. Now I've been working on several pairs of socks. The first ones I'll show you is made out of yarn that I picked up from my LYS. Now I have no idea what the name of the yarn or the colorway is because I lost the ball band, so I won't know until I go back to the shop. But I'm calling these my pumpkin patch socks, and I have finished one. Now this is a plain vanilla sock pattern that I use for most of my socks that I require a slip stitch heel. It's just a pattern that I came up with, little bits and pieces from this pattern and that. Some 2x2 ribbing, about 6 inches of leg before I start the heel, about 7 inches of foot before I start the wedge toe. So I'm really happy how they came out. What I might do differently next time, if I use the same kind of yarn, I'd probably do an afterthought heel sock. Preferably the pattern by Laura Linneman. She did a great pattern that I've used before when I've made striped socks. So that would eliminate the pooling that happened here with the orange and the green when I did the heel. And the pattern didn't change so much on the toe, but you can see at the very tip. So I love how these socks came out, and I can't wait to start the next pair. I've sort of got second sock syndrome on this pair just because I've got so many other projects going on. I haven't started the second sock yet. So this is hanging out in my Just Lou bag. And what else do we have to show you? Some other socks that I started in California when I was vacationing in the San Diego area. I went to a cute little yarn shop called Yarning for You in San Marcos, California, and picked up 2 skeins of yarn. The first was Malabrigo sock in the Archangel colorway, and that's what this is. So soft and squishy. So, you know, after I was working on the other socks, I decided to do a pair of ankle socks. And I finished this one a lot more quickly than the other one. But it's the same vanilla sock pattern, just with a total of 3 inches before you start the heel. And the rest of it is the same. I love how it came out. And I'm going to have to be careful washing these socks because I generally, you know, just machine wash my socks, but I'm going to be hand washing these and I guess the other ones too because they last longer. And I want to take better care of my hand knit socks. I put so much time and effort into them. I want them to last. So I got 1 sock done. And it's hanging out in this bag that I made. I think it goes, the color goes together. It's like a fall project. So I've got that in there. And I started the second one. I've just got the cuff completed. So I'm ready to roll. And these needles are also a size 2. Now here I've got another Just Lou bag holding my other skein of yarn that I got from the little yarn shop in San Marcos. And this is from the Forbidden Woolery, and the yarn color name is Marvelous. and it's got merino wool, nylon, and stellina. And I decided to do a pattern sock for this one. And the pattern that I picked is Elm by Cookie A from the Knitter's Book of Socks. So this is how this is coming out, and I'll put it on a sock blocker so you can see the pattern better. And I have just a little piece of scrap yarn as my stitch marker. Okay, so put this on this way, and you can start to see the pattern emerge. Now it looks like cabling, but it's not cabling. You pick up stitches on the sides of the ribbing. So it's a little bit fiddly, knitting into the front and back of picked up stitches and purling into the front and back of picked up stitches. It's hard to get your needle in there sometimes, but it's well worth the effort, and I think they're coming out very pretty. I love the sparkle, love the color, and I'm using size 1, 2.25 millimeter. And that's it for socks. I love knitting socks. It's been a while since I've knit them. So all of a sudden when I started knitting them again, I got so crazy. Now I've also been working on several projects made out of silk hankies. Now silk hankies are not actually silk handkerchiefs, but silk cocoons that were stretched over a square frame. And they stack them in several layers. And you can buy them in all different colors. Here's some white ones. And to use them, you would peel off a layer. Let's take the very top layer, and you can see just how gossamer thin these silk hankies are. Now, this looks pretty thin, but I think this is actually 2 layers. Let's peel that apart some more. Here we go. Another layer. There's 3 layers. Okay. And this is how it looks. See how thin and wispy it is? It's got little chunks and bits of silk in there. What you're going to do to use this is make it into a piece of yarn by stretching it from the middle. You poke your fingers through the center and pull the fibers out and stretch them apart until they're an even thickness. And see how far my hands have to be apart to be able to pull this apart. And you're going to get little bits that are thick and thin, especially if you have those big sections of silk like that right there. Okay, and then once you get it to an even thickness that you're happy with, you can just peel it apart, break it, and start knitting with it. There's no other preparation you need to do to this, just knit with it as if it's a single ply of yarn. And when you come to the end of your strand and you need to attach more yarn, all you need to do is lay the yarn on top of each other. If you want, you can give it a little twist to hold itself a little better. But there you go. Just continue knitting. And it comes in all array of fabulous colors. I've been getting mine from Frabjous Fibers. Now, even a beginner can knit with silk hankies. And I started 3 garter stitch projects to show just that, starting from the simplest and moving to a little bit more complex. The first one was a simple garter stitch scarf that I started with about 35 to 40 stitches, long tail cast on, and you knit every row. You don't need to do a selvage stitch or anything, just a completely mindless knit, the very basics of basic, just a garter stitch scarf. And it comes out with lovely texture. Feels just wonderful. and it's beautiful. This color is the Redwood Forest colorway from Just Fibers. And I just have a few more hankies of that color. Here. I do recommend getting 2 packages. They come in about an ounce a piece, so about 2 ounces to make a scarf. Now maybe that is a little too simple for you and you'd like to do something a little more complex. Well, why don't you do a garter stitch scarf on the bias? It comes out with these great diagonal stripes. Now all I did here was start with 3 stitches, and I increased on every right side row until I got to the width that I wanted. Then I began to decrease on the left edge. And I think it's a wonderful look. And it's got the same great texture. You have to put your mind to work a little bit more, but not too much. Still a beginner project. So you can do that, or you can purchase a paid-for pattern, Hitchhiker, which is on Ravelry. This is a garter stitch project that has little points on the edges, little teeth. And it starts off small and gets bigger. Now for this one, I was pulling the yarn a little bit thinner, and I used a smaller needle. I can't read the size right now. And these are Knit Picks Caspian needles. So those have been some fun projects I've been working on with the silk hankies. So I love working with lace. Always gotta have a little bit of lace going on. So I decided to start some shawls from the book Mystic Shawls by Anna Delvey. And this one's called Mystic Fire. I'm using Knit Picks palette in the Golden Heather color. I just had this colorway in the house, and it just screamed out to me to be the shawl. And I'm doing the 3-section version, so instead of a triangle, it's going to have another wedge on the side. So you can see the best by holding out the middle. Here's the side. I do have a lifeline in there. It's time to add another one because I just finished chart A. Yay! And it's only charted on right side rows, so the wrong side rows are rest rows. So that's what the wrong side looks like. So this has been a fun project, and it's not too difficult. It's very easy. And I've been able to keep track of it, and I've been using Knit Companion app on my mobile devices, mostly on my iPad. Love using that app. It helps me with my socks. Also, I've been using it, and other shawls and things. I've been working on a lightweight summer sweater that has lace on the front, and now that I've finished the lace, I'm just working my way down the back. So it's gotten a little bit boring, but I'm sticking with it, and I pick it up every once in a while. It's obvious it's not going to be completed this year, so I'm not hurrying to finish it. This pattern is called Kelso by Jill Wright. It's from the Knit Picks First Light book that they put out spring a couple years back. So here's the front. It's got that nice lace detail. And it's pretty long. It's like a tunic length. And I'll show you. I can put it over my head and show you what that looks like. It's got short sleeves. That's about the length of the sleeves. And so I'm still working my way down the back, and then I have to bind off the sleeves, and then I'll be working on the body only for the back. And then I'll pick up stitches around the neck to make a hood. So super excited about this project. also knit in Knit Picks palette in the Seraphim colorway. I let my sister pick out this color for me. Sometimes it's just too hard to choose. I've been doing some spinning too. Not so much on my wheel, but mostly on my spindles. And I have this Ashford spindle, my very first spindle that I got from my LYS. And I've almost completely finished spinning a whole half of a braid. This is how much I have left. This little piece and this. I'm going to try, this cup is pretty full right now, but I'm going to try to squeeze this on there since that's all there is, and I'll wind it off into a center pull ball, and I'm going to two-ply it together. So, what is that going to look like? That's going to look great together. So this is Frabjous Fibers. I believe it's merino. I forget the colorway name. But here's the other half of the braid. So that's going along well, and I'm surprised how fast it's spinning up. You know, you get used to spinning on a wheel and you think, oh, spindle spinning is so slow, but it's quite enjoyable, and it works out quickly if you keep at it. So I've been working on that, and then I just happened to get some new arms for my trindle because I had lost one arm while I was spinning. So I got some new arms from the Trindle Man on Etsy for my trindle that I got at Rhinebeck last year. And they're little owls. How cute are they? Can you see? So I decided to start spinning this fiber, which is an alpaca, Angora rabbit, and Stellina blend that I believe I picked up at the Connecticut Sheep and Wool Festival last year. Now with these arms, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm a little disappointed. Maybe they're not heavy enough, because when I'm trying to spin this, I start spinning, but all of a sudden my spindle stops and it starts spinning the other way. Oh no, how do I stop it from doing that? I just have to be quicker at stopping it. Don't spin the other way. And I just have to be really vigilant with watching it. I don't know, maybe they're too lightweight. But I love them, and I'll find a use for them, and I'll get used to it, I'm sure. I promised you some other crafty stuff thrown in. Let's see. I have been doing some sewing. Yesterday morning, I cleaned up my sewing space, got out my fabric, and sewed up a little bag. Now, it was pretty easy to do because I just followed a crafty course called Zip It Up, Easy Techniques for Zippered Bags. And it comes with 3 bag patterns. This is the runaround bag. It's got a zipper in the front, and it's fully lined, and a pocket in the back, and a short little strap. Quick, easy project, just took a morning to do. Learned some new techniques, and had a lot of fun. Well, that's all I have for you today, but make sure and stay tuned for future episodes, hopefully to come out weekly. We'll see how much difficulty I have uploading this video. You can also find the video at infinitecreationspodcast.blogspot.com and on my YouTube channel, Lakshmi B. And please remember to join the Ravelry group, Infinite Creations Podcast. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next week. Bye.